How's it going, folks? Good evening. Good evening. Ah, there I am. Friday evening. Friday evening. And wow, it's like 8:22 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And here I am live on YouTube. Wonderful. Mark, how are you? I need to get in contact with you, Mark. What are you doing tomorrow? I've had a few people, and myself being one, wanted to know if you wanted to join us for the carry on of last Sunday's uh, discussion on the show tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I think it's 2 a.m. your time. So let me know if you're interested, and I will make contact with you or whatever, or however, whatever. But yeah, if you're all about coming on the show tomorrow night, please do so. We would love to have you part of the conversation. Hey, Admit, how are you? Tim, what's going on? Gil, good to see you, man. Michael, what's going on? And hey, Safari, what's going on, buddy? Everything good? Oh, my cohort, uh, Alex. Bear with me. Sorry, guys. Um, oh wait, sorry, Sunday night. For some reason I thought it was Saturday night. And here I'm saying Friday night. Friday night. Here we are. Friday live on YouTube, Friday night. No, tomorrow night, Sunday night. Hey Adam, how's it going, buddy? I am doing better. Still, fuck, man. I am detoxing because this is just absolutely. I need to reset myself. This is just absolutely insane. This I don't know what the hell's going on. Um, yeah, so I'm going to be resetting myself. I have to do a few more tests to figure out what the fuck is going on. But this is just insane. For those who don't know, I've been kind of sick since December, Christmas Day. I started off with like a flu, and then uh it just, yeah, it's been fucking crazy. If I'm not out filming, I will be about. Okay, well, if you are around, you're more than welcome. I will shoot you um show cue to come in if you'd like, for Sunday night. This Sunday night, by the way. How are you doing, Safari? You doing good? Admit, how are you? And you know what? I'm going to open this up because it's just open discussions. I just figured I'd come in here. Hey, why not? Why not? Let me just see. Put this in chat. And don't be bashful. Don't be bashful. Hit that like button, please. Kick it. I don't care. Demolish it. Hold on. Where are we? And I will pin it to the top. Please, video and audio. But there you go. You're more than welcome to pop in. Open discussion tonight. There's a lot of hoopla going on right now, obviously with Barack Obama and, his little interview there on YouTube, stating that, aliens are real. They're out there and, taken out of context, obviously. And he, backtracked. He backtracked. Well, did he really backtrack? Did he really mean it? He really meant it. Yeah. He backtracked and sort of covered his tracks up a little bit because, hey, it's the right thing to do. We don't want any disclosure from an ex-president. Come on. And not the president himself who says they are coming. Yeah, we've heard that how many times? Uh, well, you're yeah, Mark, you're more than welcome. Anybody's more than welcome to pop in. The link's there. So I mean, if you want to click it, go ahead. By all means, you're more than welcome. I'll probably go for a little bit. Alex might pop in later on as well. Um, and yeah, so I don't know this disclosure bit. You know, it's getting tiresome. It really is. It's like just let the info out. Let it out. What the hell? I mean, we're big boys and girls now. I mean, we're not going to be frightened, by whatever you have, you know, classified, if you will. That they're here. Oh my God, they're here. Where are they? I want to meet them. Do you? Yeah. Uh, and of course, it's not only the UFO disclosure bit, UAP or whatever disclosure. Hello, sir. How are you? Good to see you.
Hi. Oh, I had your double then. That was
Double.
yeah, like the audio because I was still hearing you on YouTube as well. So let me
Gotcha.
just draw my curtains. There we go.
Gotcha.
Normally
So
I
how,
set my background up, but just left it.
yeah. So how you doing? Everything good?
Yeah, just a bit tired, but yeah.
Well, I guess so. What is it like one a.m. or something there?
1:30 in the morning.
1:30 in the morning. That's right. Holy crap.
Yeah.
So you're doing what? Filming some more content for the channel?
Yeah, I was meant to film this evening and then it rained big time here.
Oh yeah.
So and some of the people I was filming with, they were feeling under the weather. So I was like, look, let's just move it. And then I said Sunday, and I'm waiting to see if they're available Sunday if it doesn't rain. So that's why I don't know. Like, even people that know me are going, are you about? And I'm like, don't know.
Yeah, it's the weather's just insane. Like it was raining here all day.
Yeah.
And now it's turned into snow. Now we're getting more snow. I mean, we've literally had, I think, about
Hmm.
what 130 centimeters over the past month.
What?
Yeah, it's
I
insane. I'm not kidding
rarely
you.
get snow here.
Yeah,
Like it might splurry and then it instantly melts.
yeah.
So it's just, yeah, there's never any snow here at all.
What part of the UK? Mid or south? South,
Southwest.
yeah,
It's very,
southwest,
very,
yeah.
very, very rare that it snows here.
Yeah, yeah, I bet. Yeah. It's yeah, well, this year probably the most we've seen in I'd say probably about 10 years.
Oh,
The
wow,
most, right?
that's mental.
Yeah, we used to get a lot years ago when I was a kid. We used to get a lot, but now, no, not as much. I mean, we might have one big storm and that's it. Little bit here and there. Nothing major. Nothing major.
Mm.
No. So
It mainly rains constantly.
yeah.
Like it, you think the story of Noah is he thought that was rain.
Yeah.
If he was in England, he'd have known about it. He'd have built 5 arcs. That's how much it rains here.
five
Honestly,
five arcs.
it rains far too much.
Yeah, it's I hear that. Yeah, I mean it just seems that, when people think of, well, the UK, it's like rain, 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 rain and the dampness and fog and all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
You
yeah.
can't do anything in it, and then it gets cold, and then it gets windy, and like I wanted to go live Wednesday because I
Yeah.
do my adventures on Wednesdays,
Yeah.
and the last adventure I did went really well. Got
Yeah.
a few thousand people coming in and out, and then I was like, I'm just gonna have to do something from my room, like you are now,
Mhm.
and only had like maybe 100 people. I was just like, it's light and dark, the numbers, but I can't go out in that because all my equipment will be wrecked.
Yeah.
I'd be like a wet dog.
Oh
So
yeah,
it's
wet dog.
just
Yeah.
you can't do anything in it. Like people go, "Oh, just go out, put a coat on." I'm like, "Oh yeah," and I'll just put a coat on my 500-pound camera. That's how it works, isn't it?
Yeah. Adam, I'm not. No, I'm not on the East Coast. I'm not on the East Coast. I'm on southwestern Ontario. That's what Adam was. If that's what you're referring to, Adam. No, I'm not on the East Coast. No. Although the East Coast is really, really nice. Question: do you think spirit can use the sound of rain to communicate, or water splashing in a venue? Absolutely. I wholeheartedly believe that. It can sort of slave the energy. What do you think?
Well, does that mean use the energy of the running water, or does that mean use the water to communicate in the sense of it makes the noises in water?
Well, I guess moisture, water.
Because
They believe.
obviously, running water is an energy source. Because well, we found that years ago
Yeah,
as a human race. That's why we made water mills to harness the energy of
yeah.
flowing water.
Hmm.
The place near me, Snuff Mill, is so say notoriously haunted. Well, it is haunted. I'm not even going to say it is.
Yeah.
And there's running water through there. There's a stream that goes through the whole place with several old mills that used to be there. So potentially, could that do mean something? I don't know. You can go a step further with that as well and start sort of go down a rabbit hole into the beliefs of elementals,
Hmm.
or you could take the other route, and I think it's some sort of like they're like some people would call them as spirit animals or spirit creatures,
Hmm.
but then other belief systems will say that they're linked to unclean spirits and demonic entities, specific to the water. There's warlocks out there that take water. This is a very long answer for a simple question.
That's fine. That's fine.
They take water. There's like they have like certain I wouldn't say like hierarchy demons, but it's like I don't quote me on this because I'm paraphrasing from what I learned.
Hmm.
But there's like they have one for mud and dirt and stuff in graveyards where they will
Hmm.
take soil from graveyards to
Yeah.
do like curses and stuff, and there's another one linked to flowing water as well directly.
Yeah. No. Yeah. And kind of reminds me of the Japanese yokai system. Are you familiar with the Japanese yokai system?
It rings a bell. Remind me.
Yokai it means ghost in Japanese.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
That's what haunts the the word I probably can't say on YouTube. When somebody unalives themselves, forest.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they have yokai. The yokai system is basically their spirit system, and quite essentially, they have spirit. They literally have a spirit for every element
Yeah,
on the earth. Rock, water, you name it. They have
that's very interesting
I
then,
know it's really interesting.
because the
It's
warlocks. It's very similar to the warlock belief then.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's really really interesting. And of course, if anybody knows anything about Japanese cinema, they use that to know like end in sight with cinema. I mean, so many movies like from like the biggest, I think the biggest legend is that of the vengeful woman, right? The
Mm,
the black haired woman, long black hair, and usually is seeking revenge, scorned, right? And coming back for revenge is like one of the major spirit elements of the Japanese culture, right? But I like how they believe that every element on the earth has a sort of energy, sort of spirit, if you will,
yeah,
right?
we're dependent on which I've been to Japan, and obviously I think they do have Hinduism there as well. I'm not sure. I think they do. There's Buddhism's the biggest one, and there's a selection of them which is Christian as well, and they have massive temples.
Oh yeah.
At the top of, like, you got to climb miles up, and you're meant to be like enlightened and stuff, to that nature. Yeah, it's like elemental warlocks channel elemental spirits such as earth, emeralds, or water sapphires. But they're considered to be linked directly to demonic things. That's I'm reading from a source of lore. So anyone that just tuned in and goes, they're talking about demons. No, it's lore.
But lore being lore, and it fascinates me that how all that the elements are like linked to demons.
Yeah.
And why so? What do you think that is? Like, why are they linked to demons? Why are they?
Well, it's different cultures, isn't it?
Yeah.
Different beliefs and different cultures. There's always been like this sort of war between religious people and paganistic sort of ideologies is where it probably originated from.
Absolutely.
And like maybe even some could even date back to like when it went to like Norse and the Norse gods and Macedonian sort of periods of time as well, with this guy, this is Pazuzu.
Yep, Pazuzu.
Who is obviously I think it's like a Macedonian god of, I think it's like weather or something like that, and then that got reportrayed as evil. I think it's a wind. I think it controls the wind, and then it got reportrayed as a demon in Christianity, and then it got reportrayed again in The Exorcist as the demon that possesses Reagan.
Yeah.
So it all depends on belief, and then it's a question of which one's telling the truth. Well, the truth, which is truth, but which one, if it was true, would be more likely? I suppose you could say. It's hard to really understand.
It is. I mean, when organized religion first rooted itself, obviously, and you look at Catholicism and Christianity, if you will, and how especially Roman Catholic basically stomped out paganism, and they very important areas, paganistic areas, were taken over by the Catholic sort of indoctrination, and but the thing was, they kind of brought some of the paganistic elements into the fold, right?
Well, I recently found out stuff about Santa Claus, which is all about a certain type of drug. It's actually a type of mushroom. The whole story dates around this. It's a belief system to do with this mushroom and the taking of this mushroom, which was hallucinogenic. And apparently these creatures or something would bring in the mushrooms, and they'd place it in your room and they would steal them from underneath a, what do you call it? A tree, the Christmas tree, whatever they are. I can't remember what they're called now.
Okay.
And they would then try and bring them in the house, but then they would sneak them in. And the easiest way to sneak them in was through a chimney. If you look into it, it's crazy. All the stories literally are Santa Claus or Father Christmas.
That's interesting. That's really interesting. I'll have to look into that. Yeah, mushrooms. Wow.
Someone's questioning did I say I can't think of the name of that religion. It's Macedonian or Macedonian?
Methodist?
No, it's really old.
Yeah.
It's gonna do my head in if I can't figure it out. You can hear me typing away.
That's fine.
I don't know what it was. It's like really, really old.
Myth. Oh, I think I know what you're talking. I can't say it. Myth.
Yeah, it's my dyslexia.
No, I'm thinking of.
Yeah, this is it. Okay, I'm gonna put it in the chat. That's what I'm trying to say. But my dyslexia won't allow me. Oh yeah, no, he put it anyway. Or he
Yeah,
or she or they or them or whatever you want to
yeah,
be called.
Poncho. Yeah, Poncho put it in. Hey, Poncho, how's it going? Yeah, it's interesting how they how when you look at modern day religions and how
Mm.
or even celebrations, a lot of celebrations, even religious celebrations or any celebrations,
So
really.
much of it's pagan. The
Yeah, well,
like
yeah,
the East, I think even Easter Bunny's pagan.
yeah.
It's just crazy, like how how this can like come about in a sense. Like it's I don't get how like I know even well there's stuff even in I don't want to like I know there could be people here that could be religious, so I'm trying to I'm sounding a little bit like a lawyer now, or like something, like a politician, like going, wait a minute, wait, before you say it like that, say there's in the Old Testament, which is the Torah, which is made up of scrolls from the Dead Seas, there are stories even in in those books which were found, which they weren't called Jews back then, but whatever they were called back then decided which books go in, which don't. And the story of Noah is not. It was actually like a completely different. I think it actually is part of the Mesopotamian, the word I can't say, religion.
Yeah, hold on.
And
Mesopotamia.
the names are completely different, but what happens is the same. There's several stories of this flood, which and then they decided to take one of them, which was where the story of Noah came from. Um,
Yeah, Mesopotamia.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, even you're saying like, oh, we celebrate things like Christmas and Easter and they're pagan stuff, but there's most of the Old Testament is from different beliefs altogether. It was just patched together from really old beliefs.
Well, when you look at the Dead Sea Scrolls, I mean, yes, it basically dictates how ordinary life was around the time of the Bible, when the
Yeah,
scriptures, and quite literally, I don't want to say contradicts what uh, the scripture or the Bible says, but it quite literally just kind of paints a different picture in terms of, say, like a person, like Jesus walking on water was essentially not walking on water. He's essentially walking on a holy dock
yeah,
on the water that was forbidden. And it's just things
mm,
like things like that again, slang. I think slang played a huge part of
yeah, yeah.
the day. Certain words were meant differently back then, or there was different meaning said in the scripture, and trying to translate it properly into English.
Well, there's a
And
translation of a translation as well.
yeah,
It's like
exactly, over
4
so
levels
many
of
years.
translations.
Yeah,
It was where it
it's
becomes very difficult. And
very
then they
difficult.
probably even translated the original Dead Sea Scrolls into whatever language, and then those were retranslated. And what decided to go in and what didn't go in was decided by man.
Yeah.
Like some people say to me, "Do you believe in God, or do you have any faith? Like, do you believe in the words of the Bible?" And I say, "Well, I struggle with the the ideology of the words of the Bible, because of the words of the Bible was ultimately put together by man, and I don't
Mm.
trust man. It's not
Yeah.
that I don't trust. It's not. I'm not saying I don't trust a God or a higher being or faith. I'm saying
Yeah.
I don't trust human beings at all, right? So that's where my stance is with it, because there are contradictions, and not contradictions, but it's like two different gods as well. The God
Hu-
in the New Testament is like loving, caring, peace.
Humans
You
are
know,
fallible.
you must be nice even to your enemies. And then the God of the Old Testament is wrath, sacrifice, um, different person.
Yeah, when I look at when I look at the structure, I just to me, the structure is almost like it's meant to elevate control. You know what I mean? You have to believe the scripture. If you don't believe it or carry out the words of the scripture, then bad things will happen to you. Like, it's like you look at something as simple again, like when you brought up Christmas and Santa Claus, and kids are told, look at, if you're not good, you're going to get a lump of coal or you won't get any presents. And then that's basically, wow, I got to be good or else Santa's not going to come, right? Or something small is like the tooth fairy. I mean, when you're a
Yeah.
kid, your tooth fairy, if you're not good, you're not going to get, money for your tooth or whatever, it's just.
Oh, I guarantee you people will say that that's a demonic entity as well.
What, the tooth fairy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Guarantee you
Oh
people
yeah.
will say it
Guaranteed.
is.
Yeah.
It's a heavy level of belief in regards to that. Like people, the Easter Bunny, the Tooth Fairy, they're all going to be these portrayed as friendly beings, but there's other beliefs that will say that the unclean spirits are demonic. This is what I think. I think that there's different people in different times on Earth
Yeah.
that have tried to understand what's going on around them, and they have emplaced what they personally think it is at what given time. And I think that there's certain things out there in the universe that aren't fully understood, that aren't known yet scientifically.
Oh yeah.
And I feel that it's like, because they didn't know what they were, it's called the gap of the gods. They emplaced it as a god, but then different people have called things different things. Like some people will say it's an elemental, some people will say it's a demon, some people would say it was a spirit, someone else might say it's an alien, someone else might say it's a dimensional being, right? I think the thing they're talking about exists, but it might not even be any of those five. That's just what people have tried to grasp to understand it. Because that's what we do as humans. We try to give something a meaning or a word.
Well, yeah, you look at evolution again, and how there was fear in, say, darkness,
Yeah.
the unknown, dark, and fear, and then when we managed to create fire, discovered fire, and how that fire gave you a sense of safety, a safety net in the darkness. The safety was as far as you can see in the piercing light of the fire in the darkness.
Yeah.
Right. You would stay within the light. Now, if you stepped outside the light, then obviously the fear would again sort of creep in and go, oh, okay, look at,
Well, there's good reason for it then, though, because
yeah.
it was bears and lions and
Absolutely,
tigers and all sorts. Like,
and not only that, the warmth too. I mean, the warmth of the fire as
course.
well. It was a reassuring sort of element aspect. If you want to question, do you think God is our human or consciousness as a collective?
It depends, doesn't it, on what you want to believe.
I think when you look at creation, I mean, we all come from one, right? I mean, everything comes from one. There was a beginning, and
well, that's being debated now.
Well, yeah, it's being
there's some
debated.
speculation that
Yeah.
it's always been, and it just is. And I'm just like, what? It
Yeah.
gets really complicated. There's also
Well,
another
yeah.
one which says we're on a loop, so that there's an expansion which then, once it reaches its final point, it will then compress and come back in, and it'll come back in so fast that when it crushes, it will create a singularity, which will then cause another expansion, and we're just on a continuous loop of expanding and de-expanding, expanding and de-expanding, called the Big Crunch.
The big crunch.
So we could have had this conversation about a million times now.
Yeah.
That's going away from the question, though. Do you think God is a human consciousness of collective? No, but there are weird things where I start to wonder if we as humans can have a connection through consciousness, whatever consciousness is. Like twins, for example, knowing one's in pain and they're like miles across an ocean. That sort of thing is very interesting, but I don't think, based off of what, and well, if we're talking the Christian, Jewish, and Muslim God, Yahweh,
Mhm.
how each of those different religions believe in him in different ways, but ultimately it's the same bloke. No, Yahweh is a all-powerful being that existed before us, and then there's a story before the story, because I don't know, actually, I've never read the whole Bible. I don't know. There's a section that explains when he made the angels and what it was like before that. Was he just sat there on his own in darkness? You know what I mean? I don't know. I need a prequel to the Bible, but there's no mention of that being being part of us, unless you interpret the words of Yeshua of Nazareth,
Yeah.
Jesus,
Mhm.
as slightly different, because there was books removed where apparently he said that we are all sons of God, and that we all have this divineness within us. So there is that, but that's not a popular view in Christianity. Does that answer the question? I don't know.
Admit, does that answer the question?
I have far too much time on my hands. I go around learning loads of stuff which I probably don't need to know.
When I look at God as our human consciousness as a collective, I mean, you can kind of look at it like that. I mean, there's always that comparison. We kind of talked about this last Sunday. We're basically, related to, computers and the internet, right? I mean, we're all sort of patched into the universe in one way or another. And I mean, we have our knowledge that's on board, and then we have constant knowledge being filtered in through our learning process, kind of like when you're surfing the web
Yeah.
with a computer, right? You're collecting data,
Yes.
and kind of similar. Is it, so collective? I think yeah, absolutely, we're patched in collectively, but is it in fact God? I mean, that's such a broad term,
I mean, it does say God is everywhere.
Yeah.
So, in that sense, could God be part of everything and everyone and every atom and particle and element and neutron and everything?
Yeah,
I can't
I
think
mean,
of
yeah,
any more.
you could drive yourself insane just thinking about it, exactly what
But talking
God is.
about like this whole thing, and I've noted that with your background with the alien theme you've got going on there,
Hey,
have you?
Recon, how are you?
I've not read it, but I've watched a lot of videos about it. Have you heard? Has anyone heard about the Book of Enoch?
Yeah, oh yeah. You want to talk about the God expert? Here he is, right here.
Oh God,
Um,
no.
Alex,
Far from.
Alex. We're getting into a deep dive into, yeah, some really interesting questions. It's energy and can be divine. I mean, yeah. What are your thoughts, Alex, on God? What do you think God is?
A big fart.
A big far.
which one?
Well,
Specify.
the wet sticky kind.
The wet sticky
Um,
kind.
I don't know about. So I don't believe in the traditional sense
No,
of
I don't
God
think.
as far as religion espouses it, but I think of it more along the lines of um, almost like a blanket energy field where within that everything resides.
Okay.
So we're
Kind of
all
like what Nick's
in
saying.
my mind. What's that?
It's kind of like what Admit Audacity is saying in the comments.
Yeah.
What you just said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then what type
Yeah,
of
that's
energy? Because obviously there's only.
that's
See, my problem is I try to comply physics with paranormal and religion, and it's really difficult to do that. So when you say, oh, it's a divine energy everywhere, I then go, well, which energy? Kinetic energy, thermal energy, nuclear energy.
You know, religion
That's
and
the tricky
faith
part.
are like night and day. Yeah, absolutely. Admit a burrito. God is a burrito.
It's a flying spaghetti monster in the sky. No.
Oh. You want to talk? You want to talk about? I should have uploaded this, Alex. By the way, but I haven't done it yet. Where did it go?
It's like old carne asada. You sure he's in there? Tracker spiked and there's guac traces on the door.
Oh, you can't see
That
it.
the last
Forget
one
it.
you did?
Yeah, the last one. I'll send it over to your way. Pineal gland source energy. I mean, that's theory.
Does that exist?
I think it's. I think. Yeah, more so with the metaphysical sort of realm. I believe the unseen realm.
Is this referring to the whole third eye?
Yeah,
thing?
third eye.
It's going to be. I don't know if the evidence links to function of. So is it the pineal gland is a real biological thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Apparently, if you feed it enough cherry juice, it goes into overdrive.
Enough what?
Cherry juice.
Cherry juice. Wow.
Yeah, I'm not
Then
kidding.
I mean, ultimately, our brains are just mush. They can't really be fully trusted. Have you seen that thing online where it's like, what color is this picture of and there's a Coca-Cola can in the background, and you're like, it's red, and then you zoom in on it, and there is no red. Your brain has just filled the gaps. It's just, and so you have to question like how much of your reality is even your objective, even objective reality is even real.
Well, as James would say, it's subjective.
Yeah.
Subjective, but that's the thing. I mean, how many of us really? I mean, when we look at what's real and what's not, do we really know? I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you know, when you're kids, you're conditioned to understand the sort of the physical realm, right? Like it has to be physical, it has to be tangible, but is it really? Is it really? I mean, you know, I mean, there are things that we can't see.
Yeah.
Um,
Which some animals can. Some like insects can see in, I think it's like ultraviolet. We can. It's weird. And I found out the other day that I think it's something like 10% or 15%. So if our DNA was 15% more or 10% more, if there was an alien race which had that percentage more, even though it was like such a minor percentage, they would be ridiculously smarter. Don't hold me on the percentage, but I know it's a low number. So the percentage is the same percentage that we are from chimpanzees. And the smartest chimpanzee can do what our toddlers can do. So they can figure out shapes that go into things. They can figure out banana, apple, stuff like that, like what a toddler could. So if we were that percentage higher, or an alien race was that percentage higher, their toddlers would be able to figure out Pythagoras, for example.
Yeah.
So they'd be like the most intelligent version of us. They'd be like the Stephen Hawking of us, more or less.
That's pretty sad.
So we're not that smart at all.
Yeah, that's pretty sad.
We're still rather primordial, to be quite honest with you. Like a lot of people consider us to be quite advanced in technology and stuff, but in the larger spectrum of things, we're not even a tier 1 civilization yet.
Well, when you look at, you know, the fact that we can't really understand outside that, outside the box, like, the carbon based sort of reality that we know life to be. The possibility that, say, intelligent civilizations are out there, but they aren't carbon based. They're, some other sort of, you know,
Silicon or like
synthetic or whatever,
Yeah.
however might play out, because we just don't understand it. And they're far more advanced than we are, because obviously they've been able to elude us. Or is that really the case? Have they, or they just haven't bothered because we're so fucking primal, you know? Oh, we're not going to learn anything from these people. We'll just harvest them.
Well, most aliens as well, like, we know what, because our telescopes are pretty darn good now, and I would say that we are quite confident that we know that there's not life on planets that we can see on the surface of planets in our solar system. It would have to be under the surface.
Yeah.
And even past that point, like our neighboring areas we can't see, the point where they would need to be, if they were to look at Earth, they would see dinosaurs with their telescopes.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't even know we're here. They'd be like, oh, look at that over there. What's that? You know what I mean? They wouldn't know we're here. That's what's weird. When you look into space, you see back in time.
Yeah, exactly. I see what you're saying. And but that's not to say that they don't have the technology where they can supersede that. Right? I mean, that's our sort of thought about them, is that they're seeing it as we would see it, but realistically they're not. They're probably seeing it a whole different way than we would be able to, and maybe not seeing.
I think that breaks the laws of physics then, though.
well, our physics, yeah, of course, our laws.
There's a fundamental law in the universe. I think it's a universal law that you can't go faster than the speed of light.
Yeah.
So the information can only get to their planet at that speed, and nothing can beat that unless.
Here comes the big unless.
They had some sort of gateway, like a Stargate or a wormhole, but it wasn't one that you could necessarily travel through. It was just one where you would open and you could just see through it, and then you would see us as we are now, because a wormhole beats light. It doesn't go faster than it just beats. Go on.
Talking about advanced civilizations, look, here we got one right here. I've not learned the language yet. Sorry, but I know you understand English, Matt, the Secret Vault. I can't speak your language. Well, I don't know what it is. We're just not advanced enough.
Well, good morning, gentlemen. I'm a HAL 9000.
How you doing?
Just not too bad. Curious. I was just listening then, and I was like, "There's nothing that can travel faster than the speed of light. Quantum particles do."
You're talking about entanglement, yes? Because there's a good chance that they are not going faster than light. They are simply, instead of going across space, they're going through space. So they're connected directly through space via a fourth dimension. If you go through to the fourth or fifth dimension, then you go outside of time itself.
Hold on a sec. We don't even understand the fourth dimension, and you're talking about the fifth dimension?
The fourth is a tesseract, which is vaguely hypothesized in the movie Interstellar. In which point you can go at any point in time, anywhere in space. So those particles,
they wouldn't be using telescopes then to look for us. They'd be communicating with us directly.
Yes. So there's a wild theory out there that if you could create and maintain a wormhole, it would be much like a lift. So you imagine taking somebody from back in the day, putting them into a lift, and then it opens up and they're in a different room. To them, that's mental. But a civilization that can optimize wormholes, it would be like walking into a cupboard, opening up a door, and then suddenly you're in Australia, or suddenly you're on Mars. It's like instantaneous. And that's how I think these particles are entangled. They're not entangled across, it's a direct link between the two. I've researched too much.
pulling back this celestial curtain and seeing Alex Rondini on the other side and being like, my God, it's full of stars.
At a moment we are all communicating right now instantaneously across different parts of the world, which is remarkable if you think about it.
Yeah, exactly.
So to consider, like, to us now, going, these two particles have the exact same, if this one's north doing this one's doing this, is identical, or if this one's doing this one's always doing this, that's crazy, that's impossible, it beats the speed of light, etc. You try and tell somebody during the Victorian period what we're doing now, you couldn't.
Oh, they'd burn you at the stake.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So I just think
consider
we're
us
at a point where we
gods.
just haven't figured it out yet. We just
Gods are
haven't.
heretics.
All you have to do is go back to the Victorian age and bring a cell phone with you.
Yeah.
We're
Wait.
not developed enough.
That's
to
been done
understand
already, hasn't it? That's already been done. God, do something else. That's already been done. There's pictures. I saw pictures on the internet.
Yeah, just like we saw pictures of the burrito demon.
The great burrito demon.
Yeah.
Matt, what oh, that's in September, right? The that convention thing that guest speaking thing that you're doing?
Yes, something like that. Yeah.
September or something. That's right. And what is that? Is that a UFO? Is it UFO?
All sorts of weird stuff. There'll be cryptozoology. There'll be UFOs, comedy, and they got Dom Jolly, who's a pretty well-known British comedian, is going to be there.
Nice.
They want me to interview Rob Irving as a circle maker, interviewing another circle maker. So that's the plan, anyway.
And how are your feelings about that? Getting diving back into the circle making sort of realm.
Well, I'll talk about circle making. I'm just retired from actually making them, unless somebody wants to pay a farmer, and maybe I'll go out in the summer and do one. But it's I'd rather do them above board and do them for demonstration purposes. And if somebody wants to actually try and be scientific about it, which over the years everyone just likes to kind of stand and proclaim their theories about it rather than actually come out and watch circle makers doing it and be part of the weirdness, and see some really weird stuff going on. So, it's a shame, but I'd like to get scientists involved more, really, rather than doing it and then everyone kind of having their own little weird theories about it and then saying, people can't make these because there's weird energies in there. And it's like, well, we made it. So, but you can't have made it because there's weird energies in it. It's like, well, do you want to watch us making it? No, we're not going to watch you making one because you're evil.
You're evil.
Oh, okay. Yeah, cool.
You're one of those demonic guys, right?
Mm.
Isn't it? I don't know if I'm right in saying this, but somebody said, if it's a genuine, genuine, loosely, a loose term of genuine, but not something that's been made by a person, crop circle, it would have to be perfectly cut, like that. And it would also, it would give off some degree of radiation. So if you took one of those, what are they called? One of them machines, it would, it would give off a radiation as well. And then that's when it's going to be weird.
I think if they gave off that type of radiation, they'd probably be telling people not to go in them because it would be dangerous. But no, electromagnetic radiation, perhaps, and yes, those things do get picked up on static meters. And we went and did a crop circle in the daytime, and we did manage to get a couple of people along, and they said that it had a higher reading than any one they'd ever been in, and they watched us make it. So, that's the sort of scientific research I'd like to see being done, because it kind of helps to, dispel these myths about, how crop circles get put there.
They need the
but,
funding though, which they never will get.
yeah, and I
that's
think
where the
people don't
issue
want
is.
to hear it's people. They want to believe it's aliens and gods. So they're happy in that world, and people go out and make them, and then other people, just kind of claim them and go, nope, that's made by aliens and gods, and we don't want to listen to anything else. So, yeah.
So I know you've kind of explained it before, Matt, but um, even so that you're making when you were making the circles, you often mentioned that you had this sort of weird sort of energy or sort of feeling or presence or whatever that was, I don't know what, looking on or kind of guiding or
Yeah.
you know exactly what do you mean by that?
Well, I've talked about this a lot. Watch Circle Makers TV if you want
Yeah.
to see more about this. But in a nutshell, circle makers are guided by something telepathically to go out and do the designs. And you often think that the design is your design, but weird things happen with the places you put them, and other people come along and decode them, and they get a lot more out of it than was ever put in by me, or the other circle makers. But the circle makers will sit there and design it and think, oh, that's my design, I designed that. And then there's a lot more to it than you realize. So people get guided to go to certain places at a certain time. And, these things are not planned for by the circle makers, but they're obviously planned for by something else. So, we get the idea pops into your head. You think it's your idea, but it's not. And then you go into a field and you say, right, this feels about right. So you're just walking into a field you've never been into before, and you don't understand the significance of that particular spot. And you just feel like, oh, this feels like where we should start. Let's do it here. So you put your stake down, you make it, and then you realize that you stuck it on exactly. And you're talking about nighttime now with no GPS. You're just walking in and you go, let's do it here. And it's been on the exact position of another one that appeared a couple of years ago. Things like that, and it's like the coincidences behind even that, are bizarre, because you're just walking in at night and you just say, oh, this feels right, which is like kind of dowsing almost, you're dowsing the spot it needs to be. So why do we get drawn to do these things? And what's the mechanism behind that? And why have I got the urge to go out and make a crop circle? Didn't have a team, and I just felt really strongly I must go and do it. And I end up doing it a couple of 100 feet from people who are sitting there meditating on exactly the design that I go out and make. And they're asking for it, and then you come and do it. And I tried to tell them, I actually got in touch with some of the people and managed to convince them, sort of like, that was us. And I got the idea to come out and do it. And I was doing it so close to you. How do I know where you were? I didn't know that you guys were out meditating on this, but there I was, so you asked for something and you got it. Now, is that you communicating directly to my head, or is that something else trying to kind of influence us all and interest us in them? That's what we don't know. But there's enough to say that there's energies involved that come after people make the circles. That's nothing to do with us. So I think we're taking part in something bigger. So
that kind of collective sort of hive mentality on a whole different level.
And perhaps the energies that are put into the crop circle are the collective thought power of everyone on the planet. I don't know. It's a possibility. You put these things out into the media, and people look at them, and they're focusing their energies on them. So they're looking at them and they're trying to decode them, and they're measuring them, and all that thought power is focused on that design. And maybe if you amplify that, by however many thousand people who are putting their thoughts into it, maybe that's what puts the energy in there, or maybe it's something else. And I like to think it's something else, because some of the things that have happened to us whilst we've been out making them are definitely weird, you know.
2 questions. One,
Mm.
did you know of the people that are out there that use spirit boards, Ouija boards, to communicate with alien life?
Yeah.
And 2, have you heard about the crop circle, which was considered to be a direct reply back to some data that was sent out that tells the universe who we are, where we are in the universe? Yeah, you know about
Yeah.
those.
They transmitted a signal from the Arecibo dish in Puerto Rico, which is the dish that collapsed. It's the large basin, concrete basin, with wires slung across and a sensor, and it's basically a static dish, but they can transmit from it and they can receive, and they sent the signal out from that dish into the universe, high-powered transmission, and it was a digital signal of so many pixels across by so many pixels down, and it contained the image of a human, so a human shape, our DNA strands down the edge, and then some extra information, which would have been, if you mathematically worked it out, it would have been the size of our planet, the position of our planet in the solar system, and the amount of people on Earth, I think it was. So they were basically sending that out as a signal. I think it had something to do with Carl Sagan and the CSETI project, which is, you know, where they listen for signals from space. So they sent out the signal, but it would have taken thousands of years, you know, for this signal to have gone to even the nearest possible planets in a distant solar system, you know, many thousands of light years away. But within 40, 50 years, or let's say, I'm not sure exact time, but let's say 50 years of that signal being sent out, a crop circle appears, which is a reply. But the thing is, if it was put down by humans as a reply, which I believe it was, then the reply isn't necessarily coming from the aliens. Now, you could say, well, maybe they were inspired to do that particular design, which makes it possibly a communication from the aliens, but it was certainly put down by people. So, you know, you have to ask, where did the people get the inspiration to do it? Was it just a joke, or was it a serious inspiration?
People did it, the people would have had to have been intelligent to some degree to understand the model of what they were doing. Like, it's not just someone that's gone out there and whacked something together. It actually made sense to the maths. So it would have been somebody within a position which understands astrophysics and physics in general.
It wasn't a hard code to replicate, though, because the fact was that it's been well explained how that code is created. So therefore, anyone else can create the code. I mean, it is just digital light and dark. Binary. So it's an on and an off binary. Yeah, and it's a picture by so many pixels by so many pixels, and you can add up and make the. I mean, they changed the strands of DNA, so it was either a triple strand, whereas we've got a dual strand, but they had a triple strand, and they had a big head, so they look more alien than us. And you know, I mean, it wouldn't be hard for somebody to actually make a change to that. And there've been other designs.
Because when it comes to the whole humanoid thing, there's no reason to suggest why an alien would have 2 arms, 2 legs, fingers, you know, head, eyes, nose, mouth. That's more likely that they're already here.
Or panspermia, perhaps, that many planets around the universe have been seeded by either accident or alien races going around, you know, starting life on many different planets. And therefore there would be a similarity perhaps in the way certain things develop.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, there's a Star Trek episode where they found out that humanoids with arms and legs, you know, sort of were very, very sort of popular amongst the species, and that's why Star Trek is kind of like guys dressed in suits with arms and legs because that's a cheaper way to kind of do your aliens.
Easiest
But
one.
they explained it away. They explained it away as like, but you see, that was how the whole universe was seeded by an ancient race of gods or aliens. You know, there was a Star Trek episode about that.
It kind of makes sense, you know, that would play a part in our evolution here, I think. Absolutely. And who's to say? I mean, like, you know, a chunk of an asteroid or, you know, a planet, you know, from Mars or whatever. I mean, because there's always that thought that there's you know, a sort of a connection to Mars with our history,
Yeah. And there would
right?
have been water on that planet at some point.
You know,
So what was there before?
yeah, and possibly, you know, the civilization, that ancient civilization, you know, maybe for some odd reason they were able to they knew that Mars was done and somehow made it here. Right? I mean, there's so many different theories, and
But then they would have not been able to, they would have come and left. It's really difficult because if something was advanced to get to Earth from Mars, then we would have started more advanced, unless, like you're saying there, they interfered maybe with the apes of the planet, and then which then bred into being Homo sapien and Homo erectus and like Neanderthal, and then those spread, and then the others died out, and some are, well, some people I think are Neanderthal to this day, to be honest with you, but we won't get into that. And yeah, that's the ideology. I mean, even going back to the Bible, the mistranslation of angels is actually messengers, the messengers in the sky coming in their chariots.
yeah. I mean, and
history talks about this. So I mean, you know, if we just listen to what history's trying to tell us, I mean, we've been told that aliens have been here for a very long time and have had a big influence on our past, and they may be living here on Earth and they may be visiting us. You know, these possibilities are limitless.
And I mean, you look at something as small. I don't want to say small, but I mean, you look at how cultures have evolved here on Earth. Humanity has evolved because of their environment that they have lived in. You know, you look at, you know, Asian. You look at you know, African, and you know, all these, because of the elements that they the environment that they, you know, for thousands, millions of years, with, you know, without, you know, moving a great deal of distance and just staying in that direct area, because they probably just didn't know, or, you know, the planet maybe it had broken up by then, you know, well, it had broken up pretty much by then, and there was no land mass, no landlock or anything like that for certain areas, and they just felt, okay, well, this is the end. I mean, this is our environment. We can't move past it, sort of thing, until they, you know, learned how to do certain things, you know, like boats, sail, and, you know, all sorts of stuff. I mean, how do you think you know, humans are going to evolve now that we're pretty much global?
I think we're going to kind of blend ourselves out eventually, so there's not going to be so much difference in the way we look, because we're kind of on that road as we speak, to kind of breeding out a lot of differences. But yes, in the past there were more differences, but that's kind of going by the wayside, and we will kind of all end up like looking like a, what's the term, homogenous? Yeah,
Well, the next evolutionary
the right term?
step is
We'll all be beige.
Cyborg. That's our next step of evolutionary. Is part
Cyborg.
machine. Yeah, we will be
AI.
part machine. People putting chips in their heads. It's already happening. It's already happening.
it's gonna get to the point where people are afraid of death right now. They're gonna go, fuck no, I don't want to be one of those kids. I want to die. Like, I don't
Yeah,
wanna-
I think they're creating hearts now, which pump your blood for you, and they were never like, it's not like a pacemaker. It actually is like a heart that's been made like a machine, and it just pumps the blood for you. It's just like, right, so we don't need the heart anymore. And then there's a stem cell research as well, making your own organs from your own stem cells. So you have like a whole fridge.
Hell, we'll throw in
Back-
those
backup
nanobots to
parts.
clean up your cholesterol.
And them,
Those are the backup parts.
Yeah.
that means that we're pretty much make ourselves immortal at that point. So you wouldn't, if you had nanotechnology, you wouldn't age anymore. So you would become immortal, other than being shot or hit with a car or something. You know what I mean? Something extreme.
Mark, they're already here. They're called werewolves.
Werewolves.
They're immortal.
Vampires.
Vampires.
Vampires. Okay. If we want to do that, we shall.
I mean, if these civilizations are among us, they've got technologies to advance their lives beyond normal sort of 100 years that we're sort of living to at the moment. So you can imagine that the elites are probably in receipt of this knowledge and choose to keep it away from the general public.
Of course.
Because it's not something they want to kind of have running around, all this technology that could, make us live to a great age. And we'd all,
been hidden. Like you were mentioning the Trump thingy, say letting something out earlier. It's come on.
Oh yeah, the I think he was pissed off that Obama beat him to the punch.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what else is new, right? It's not like he doesn't make it known, right? And then of course, Obama's like backtracking on his comments. It's like,
I don't know.
He's not backtracking. They just took him out of context.
well, yeah, well, that's what a lot of people say.
The interview where he specifically said, "I personally believe that there's aliens." He didn't say that the government knows there's aliens.
No, I know.
But he did say, unless there's a massive conspiracy and they don't tell the presidents,
Exactly.
which is probably what there is, because there is a massive conspiracy, and they don't tell the presidents everything. In fact, there are powers way beyond presidents.
Of course.
Oh, wait a sec. Trump knows. Okay, he knows. He's
He doesn't even know when his diaper's full.
I know.
But we're getting closer to disclosure. They're actually admitting to it now that these things are out there, but they don't know what they are. Honest, But we know they've been researching them for a long time, and they won't talk about the historical stuff. They only want to talk about the last 10 years of sightings, and ignoring history.
What's your views on the fighter pilots that they went into the the court system, and they were all under like testifying that this is a real thing? Do you remember that? Yes.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people come forward to say they have first-hand knowledge of the craft being retrieved as well, who work in the military. So not just fighter pilots. I mean, I know people put a lot of, faith in the fact that these people are Navy pilots and therefore should be trusted and their testimonies are correct. But I mean, they don't put so much faith in these other whistleblowers who are coming forward to saying, we've got the bodies, we've got the craft. There's like James Lukatsky, who's a doctor who worked in the Department of Defense. And he said, we've been inside the craft, but that's all I'm allowed to say. And I've got clearance to say that, but I can't say any more. So, it's kind of like there's people out there who would, you could fill football stadiums with people who come forward with the evidence, but it's whether people want to believe, because there's only so much they can actually talk about because of their security clearances. So, They're whistleblowing right now.
Bob Lazar.
Just whether people want to
There's
believe
another
it.
one. Have you heard of Bob Lazar?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he's the big one. Very
Yeah.
interesting stuff. He gets labeled
I
as a
didn't-
loon.
I didn't believe him when his first stuff first came out, but I
Mm.
went to Area 51 to sort of check some things out. And over the years, I've kind of started to believe a little bit more because, I mean, he even said element 115. There was a stable form of it, and it wasn't even on the periodic table. Now it is. So, you know, these people know things ahead of their time. So, yeah.
Yeah.
What, Alex? Like, you know, example, like what you witnessed.
Mm.
What do you think you saw?
Fuck
Like-
if I know. Like, I mean, it didn't behave like your typical UFO sighting. Because a lot of the sightings that I've read about, and I haven't read all of them, but the ones that I've read about, you see this, whatever it is, this, you know, a sphere, or you see an object in the sky, and then out of nowhere it'll just zoom away fast, like
Yeah.
incredibly fast. What I saw were just literally 3 orange balls of light, for lack of a better term, orbs, whatever you want to call them, heading towards me. And then as soon as they got close to where I was, they veered north. But I didn't hear any noise. It was, well, silent aside from the traffic outside. But like, I mean, we're under where we used to live before. We were under the flight path for the international airport. So I was used to hearing the planes go by. I know what they sound like, and you could hear them. These were silent. There was no sound whatsoever. And they wouldn't, if it was a plane, it wouldn't veer north. It would keep going the way it was going, which was westward. It was just weird. I can't explain it. Like, I don't know if it is a UFO sighting or if it's something else.
I mean, it's kind of, you know, basically what I saw.
Yeah.
But not really near an airport, but it was over Lake Ontario, and you know how many planes go over Lake Ontario. These weren't planes. Absolutely weren't planes.
You could tell if
No.
it's planes because they
Yeah.
have to have those green and red strobe lights on,
Yeah.
right? So unless you're facing directly to them and they have their lights on, it's kind of hard to see that. But if they're to the side, you could, if they're close enough, obviously, you could see the red and green strobe lights going off, and you could tell that that's a plane.
Yeah. But the movement alone of these things didn't make sense.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
just, and this is way before drones.
Well, my incident drones existed, but they weren't
Yeah.
as common
No.
as they are now. But I mean, it's, even if it was, if it were drones, you're not talking about your general consumer drone here. You can't,
Yeah.
because they came from a distance, and they traveled towards me, and then they veered north, and they kept going north. The consumer drones available today, I don't think have that kind of range, to be honest with you. Now that doesn't mean it couldn't be military drones or something else, but at the same time, why would they be glowing orange? Kind of defeats the purpose. Those kind of stuff you kind of don't want the people to see, right?
Yeah, because I mean, you know, your strobe lights that you would have on, and your nav lights. If you want to be stealthy, you turn all that off. And the military do fly around with all their lights off, you know, because they want to practice stealth.
Yeah.
So they turn all the lights off, transponder off, and they fly at low level. But you can hear the engines. So, you know, whatever you saw was giving off some type of weird light and had no noise. And you'd usually hear a jet engine or a piston engine or an electric motor. You'd even hear that. And
so where we
the
were
speeds
located,
involved.
Yeah, exactly. Where we were located, the planes that would be coming into the international airport at Pearson in Toronto were low enough where we were that you could distinctly hear it, even when you're inside. When we were inside, and they didn't always fly that way. Like sometimes they use the opposite runway, and sometimes they use the north-south runways. But when they used the east to west runways, they flew over where we used to live, and we could hear them clearly. This was completely silent. I didn't hear a thing, and I even had to point it out to my wife. I go, look, and we couldn't hear anything. It's like, what the heck is that, right? And
Did
of
it
course, it's
travel-
at nighttime. You couldn't really take a good video, obviously, but
Did it travel like in one trajectory and then go off in one trajectory, or did
Right.
it move in ways
So-
it shouldn't?
there was three.
Exactly.
Yeah, there was three of them coming towards me from east to west. One of them was lagging behind, and at some point, the third straggler caught up to the other two, and they almost flew. I wouldn't say a perfect triangle. It wasn't in the perfect triangular formation, but kind of like a triangle towards me. And then as soon as they got close to right above us, they just veered north. All three of them. Right. And again, like I said, if it was any sort of plane going into the airport, they would have had to have continued westward.
Mhm.
My only explanation, I wasn't there, but if you ever, there was some really similar in the UK where in the area that I live, where people said that they thought they'd seen a sighting of UFO, and they just described what you said with 3 orange lights going across the sky.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
think 3 or 4 orange lights going across the sky. But in that instance, it turned out to be the Chinese lanterns,
Yeah, there's no way these
and,
would.
and then the
What
wind
I saw.
can move them in different directions. So I don't know what you've seen, but if I'm just like trying to
Yeah.
come
Yeah,
up with
I
feasible
mean-
things that could be, because I know they make no sound.
That's what I was, okay, am I seeing Chinese lanterns, the flares, all that shit went through my mind. But I mean, what I saw, it was absolutely not that. There's no way. The movement that I witnessed, certainly no.
I know it definitely wouldn't be able to do this and then go back and then do this.
Yeah.
Like there's not even a.
It seemed too coordinated.
Mm.
To be the Chinese lanterns. If I remember correctly, there wasn't. Now again, we're at ground level. There wasn't a lot of wind. That doesn't mean there's not wind high up. However, with wind and you see the Chinese lanterns, what I would picture is, because of the way they're designed, you kind of see them wobbling because the wind will be pushing them. These were like smooth sailing. Like there was no sort of wavering. They came up and then they just veered and it kept going smoothly. It was just the oddest thing.
Interesting.
So, Michael says swamp gas. Not where I was. There's no swamp where I am.
Is that swamp gas? Is that what creates the will-o-wisps? I think
Yeah,
it is
maybe.
always marshlands. Marshlands create the will-o-wisps. And then there's
Yeah.
another
And
weird phenomenon, which is ball lightning. But that's
I
normally
was just
on the ground.
that's what I was going to say is ball lightning, but why would they be coordinating with each other and then change direction?
Yeah, it was just
No.
it was a weird scenario.
Unless you think, maybe you could sort of make an argument that if it was ball lightning, maybe there's something magnetic in the ground that would be forcing these things to take a path. But again, why a straight line? Because any sort of magnetic anomaly, you'd imagine it would waver, probably through the ground. So it wouldn't be in a straight line. It would be fluctuating.
Dual hallucinations.
I mean, if we all take psilocybin or whatever it's called at the same time, perhaps.
Ass gas.
Not swamp gas. It's ass gas.
Let me guess, you had big fat burrito before
I
getting
did.
home.
No, actually, I didn't.
Yeah, it what I witnessed was just absolutely just wow. A friend of mine, he because I was on my way home from work, and this is probably about 3-4 o'clock in the morning, and he was heading out to work, and he had witnessed them as he was going into work. He actually took it a step further than I did. He actually went and contacted the local airport and the military base in the area and asked about any exercises and blah blah blah. They're not really going to tell you anything, but what he saw, exactly what I saw. I unfortunately back then the cell phone, or sorry, the cameras on cell phones were just absolutely horrible. So the footage that I captured just didn't do it justice.
Yep.
And by the time I got home to grab a proper camcorder, it was too late. They were long gone, which sucks. So from that day on, I always carried a camcorder in the car just in case, because you never know, right? I mean, you never know. You driving home and then bang, there they are again. Because it was really weird. Because I was driving along a stretch of road that wasn't. It was country, really. I mean, there was really no. There was development south of the road, towards the high or towards the lake. But to the north, it was all still farmland. And I was driving home, and I honestly thought, at first, I'm like, what the? I thought those are awfully tall street lights. All right. And I double take, and I'm like, wait a sec, why are they following me? Okay, wait a sec, those are street lights. They're actually in the sky. What the hell, man? This is. And I'm watching them. I'm like, well, this is fucked up the way they're moving. That's not natural. And then, I said, okay, I got to pull over at the next intersection and turn around and point the car in that direction. And sure as shit, I sat there and watched them. There was originally 3 of them, and one of them just went below the horizon. You couldn't see it anymore. And the other 2 were kind of like playful in the sky for a bit, and then just like disappeared. And there was one there for the longest time, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna run home and grab my camcorder. Hopefully it's still in the sky, but it was gone by the time I got home. So
it's interesting you talk about the aspects of the military wouldn't tell you if it was their type of technology anyway, because that sort of concept of military establishments working alongside extreme technologies, some say working even alongside aliens themselves. If we go to like the conspiracies of Nazi Germany and their creation of a flying saucer, or trying to create a
the
flying
Nazi
saucer.
bell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of it.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Well, I mean, go ahead, Matt.
Well, I was just going to say, Admit Audacity said it's possible to have dual hallucinations and mass hallucinations. There was an interesting case of Edwards Air Force Base launched a rocket in the daytime, and people all around California, sort of Los Angeles area, saw the rocket going up. And so people were, sort of saying, oh, I saw a rocket being launched from Edwards Air Force Base. But people specifically in San Francisco saw the Virgin Mary in the sky.
Yeah.
In the direction where the rocket would have been launched, but they all witnessed the Virgin Mary. So is there kind of like an infectious mind disease or mass hallucination that can start with one person or a few people and can spread to everyone else, so they all have the same shared hallucination? Because it was clearly the trigger was the launch of a rocket. But why was everybody in San Francisco seeing the Virgin Mary?
Mm-hmm.
Weird.
Hangman, yeah, toilet paper. That's what happens when you eat too many burritos.
If you only knew.
I mean, then maybe there was an experiment was going on in San Francisco where they were sending out some sort of mind control signal, through radio waves or something. Maybe that this was an experiment to kind of see whether people could be influenced in that way. But then again, I believe in telepathy. I believe in mind power, things that we don't acknowledge, that we've got these extra sensory abilities that, you could possibly have a hallucination which is affected across a load of people will see the same thing. Remember the Fatima sightings?
Yeah.
Where people came and they had the same sighting of the angels and the weird balls of light. And yeah, so, but this is maybe collective mind power at work. So maybe humans are actually the source of some of these balls of light. Maybe it's human mind power. In some weird way. Maybe people are sending these things out there with the power of their mind. It's all stuff that they don't want us to know about these abilities or hone them or train in them, because it would give people abilities that I don't think the governments and religions really want us to be dabbling in. They don't want us to sort of be doing this stuff. So
how do you think people would react over aliens? I think they already have reacted over aliens.
I think people would handle it quite well, to be honest. Not the kind of freaking out that we're told people would do. Where everybody's like, "Oh God, we've got to prep now. We've got to get all the food off the shelves." And I don't think there would be a societal collapse like some people are saying. I think people would be like, "Oh, cool. So we'd like them to show themselves. Then that would be the next step." I mean, simply telling people they exist is just step one. I mean, next step would be, well, come on, then we'd like to see some and hear what they've got to say. And they probably wouldn't say anything. They'd probably project it out through thought. So we'd all be hearing them in our heads.
It's controlling the narrative, right, Matt?
Yeah, and then everybody would be saying it's a conspiracy. That's the government sending that signal out into our heads. It's not real. Don't believe it. So you'd have the mass kind of differences of opinions over what the aliens were. Some people would be saying they're demons. Some people are saying they're aliens. Some people are saying it's a government conspiracy to make us think they're aliens.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that thought right there. I mean, who the heck? I can't remember who it was that mentioned it. I remember hearing this a long time ago, and the whole paranormal realm, if you will, the whole ghost spirit sort of scenario being a sort of a control factor into keeping you from seeing the real deal, sort of thing. Let's keep them entertained and make them believe that they're seeing these spirits and whatnot, the dead loved ones and blah blah blah, and that'll keep them from really understanding what we know or what is real, if you will.
The power of distraction.
Yeah, the power of distraction. Absolutely. Yep. I mean, I wouldn't put it past the people in the know on something like that, Matt.
Yep. Well, religions have been doing a lot to kind of shape what we think and what we're not supposed to do and what we're not supposed to communicate with. So they've been doing that for a long time. But I think just the Western religions are kind of down on don't make contact and don't believe in these spirits and only talk to God, but don't talk to the spirit world. That kind of thing, which I think is very one-dimensional, really. So lots of other religions are kind of much more into the idea of communicating with the spirit world, and I think it actually makes people happier to know that that's there as well. So we're living in denial and not quite so happy because of it.
Gents, I'm gonna hit the road. I'm starting to fall asleep.
I'm nodding. That'll be the alcohol, though.
It's getting 3 a.m. for me here, so
yeah, we'll cut it down. So yeah, Sunday night, we're carrying on. I don't know if you're available, Matt.
Yeah, it's just a normal show night. Yes.
Yeah, it's a show night, and we're going to carry on with what we're, pretty much what we were talking about here. But I mean, what we were talking about last Sunday night. Justin is going to join us, and James Friday House, and possibly Mark, if you are able to, Mark, pop in if you like, and we'll carry this on. I mean, it's always intriguing. So
I'll let you know via Discord. I think I got.
Yeah, Discord. That's fine. That's perfect. That's perfect. But yeah, and then next Sunday, director Richard Stanley is joining us.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's
I'm
right,
looking
for
Got to be there for that one.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to having him back on. I was reading a comment. I don't know if you saw it. You know, somebody posted in one of the old Richard Stanley shows. Oh, and you having Richard Stanley on now. You're really going to be legit.
Who said that?
I don't know. Somebody. I'm like,
You've already had
okay.
him on.
He said this will be his third time on the show. Whatever. Oh my god, that's hilarious. But anyways, yeah, I'm looking forward to having him on. Quite an interesting character. I mean, the guy is a wealth of knowledge too, and just in his castle, he's in his castle in the Pyrenees, and it's yeah, he's fighting the good fight there because apparently the French are trying to rewrite history in where he's located, and they're trying to abolish some of the history. I guess it's Spanish history, and they're trying to rewrite it as French. I don't know, so that'll be interesting. And he's also been brought on for as the principal writer for the third installment of the film series, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. The first two were absolutely horrendous. But he's saying he's the third one is a complete re-envision, and in fact he's going to be in front of the camera as well. He's playing one of the main characters, so that'll be interesting. So we'll talk about that and so much more. So, and if you have never seen his movie Hardware, check it out, or A Color Out of Space.
That's right.
With Nicolas Cage. So
really
cool.
Absolutely superb.
Yeah, really cool flick. But that's March 1st. He will be joining us. So anyways, take care, and we'll see you this Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and hopefully we'll see you guys as well. Everybody in chat, thanks. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and we'll see y'all later.
Good night, everyone.
Right.
Bye.